Friday, May 8. US President Donald Trump has finally attacked Iran, restarting a war that many fear will be the precursor to World War III. This was a move that almost everyone watching the region knew he would make. Even so, the fork-tongued, and indeed cowardly manner in which Trump and his allies Saudi Arabia and Qatar did so, left many speechless. The "trust me" operation failed. Now they are back to their usual routine of Axios fake news, Iranian Parliament Speaker MB Ghalibaf had said, referring to reports from Axios, an online news outlet seen as a Trump mouthpiece. Axios had for days trumpeted a new deal was imminent, but Ghalibaf has dismissed it as fake news and part of a psychological operation following the failure of the US military operation, Project Freedom. With Trump unable to break free from his ill-conceived playbook of lies and more lies, perhaps the view is true that the once mighty US empire must be crushed first, or be made to collapse on itself before it can regain moral compass and start the process of healing itself. For sure, the rest of the world cannot be held ransom to Trump's bad behavior and US bullying any longer. Already battered and pushed to a corner by America's ruthless and relentless military and economic attacks, countries around the globe fear for their own survival. Indeed, so unpopular are Trump and his regime, that all eyes are now on Iran to hammer the last nails into their political coffins. The final spark exploding the powder keg and burning down an erstwhile uneasy ceasefire might well have taken place last night in the Strait of Hormuz. As in the past, the latest Trump stealthy and violent move had come amid the false claims by his regime of an imminent breakthrough with Iran in the purported negotiations leaked by Axios. Yet despite increasing world scorn, condemnation, and odium for him, the unfazed Trump has not stopped throwing political tantrum after tantrum. Instead, Trump warned on his Truth Social that we'll knock them out a lot harder, and a lot more violently, if Iran doesn't sign a deal soon. So it is, that as no dictatorship or empire has ever lasted forever, Trump's final days and the era of American hegemony may be unceremoniously clipped by the very nation it has impoverished for 47 years with merciless sanctions and is still trying so hard to destroy. According to Professor Robert Pape of the University of Chicago, Trump would do well to stop bragging about how great he was and how desperate Iran was. The US leader needed to wake up fast to the reality that it was now Iran that held the escalatory upper hand. And with help from allies Russia and China, Iran might just opt to sink his presidency rather than help him out with face-saving deals and bailout strategies, Pape told the Don Lemon Show.
Now, in terms of the actual exit strategy here, I think we need to understand that I think for between now and the midterms, I think Iran has a top preference here, which is to wreck in a probably irreversible way the Trump presidency. Here. And I know the Democrats have tried to do that, by the way, but I think they're going to discover that wrecking the economy and having much higher gas, this is not something the Democrats ever would want to do. But Iran here is perfectly willing to have that happen. So I think that in terms of the next 6 months, people keep saying, give me a bailout strategy. I think the problem here is that if you look at China, you look at Russia, and you look at Iran, I think that between now and the midterms, I think they're perfectly happy sinking the Trump presidency so that the next 2 years of the Trump presidency, it's a complete hobbled lame duck. They can't do anything. So maybe in January, maybe in December, you could start to actually turn something around here. This is I think, I'm sorry to say, I know we want out of the pain now, but Iran gets a vote on this. China gets a vote on this. I don't think they want it to go nuclear, by the way. So just so you know, I don't think they want this to go to that point. But I do think that this is the real problem. We have so been attacking not just Iran, but we've hurt China. I mean, just think of all the pain we've inflicted on the world.
Shedding light on what lit the spark on Thursday, the Iran narrative quoted a spokesperson from the Iranian military. It was the aggressor, terrorist, and pirate US Army that violated the ceasefire by targeting an Iranian oil tanker moving from coastal waters near Jask toward the Strait of Hormuz. Another vessel entering the strait opposite Fujairah port in the UAE was also targeted by US Navy ships. Simultaneously, U.S. forces had then carried out airstrikes on civilian areas in the coastal regions of Bunda Kama, Sirik, and Keshem Island, in coordination with regional countries allied to the U.S. Longtime U.S. ally Saudi Arabia was one such country. Ironically, the Saudis had the day before caused a global stir by banning the U.S. from using its air bases and airspace. Yet in less than 24 hours, the Saudi regime reneged on its words, allowing U.S. and Israeli forces to attack Iran from its facilities. Iran has vowed retaliation. Its military had responded by striking U.S. warships east of the Strait of Hormuz and south of Chabahar port, inflicting significant damage. The criminal, aggressor United States and its supporting countries must know that the Islamic Republic of Iran, as always, powerfully and without the slightest hesitation, will deliver a crushing response to any aggression, Iran's military said in its statement. Meanwhile, according to CBS News, 3 U.S. Navy destroyers, the USS Truxtun, USS Mason, and USS Rafael Peralta, were hit by the heavy Iranian attack on Thursday while transiting the Hormuz Strait toward the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. Central Command or CENTCOM has confirmed the incident but denied any of its vessels were directly hit. Without rebutting Iran's claim it was the U.S. that broke the ceasefire first, CENTCOM insisted it merely intercepted unprovoked Iranian attacks and responded only with defensive strikes. CENTCOM further claimed that its strikes only targeted Iranian launch sites directly involved in the attack. Yet through this fog of war, what experts found most telling was the CENTCOM assertion that the U.S. was not seeking escalation. The analysts viewed the CENTCOM statement as an attempt to justify a tactical retreat following the failure of Project Freedom to break Iran's closure of the strait. Not unexpectedly, Trump has denied the U.S. fiasco, asserting the ceasefire was still intact. However, he could not resist reverting to his usual barrage of threats, warning that if Iran did not sign a deal fast, it might become one big glow.